You start with the flattery. You start by complimenting, not disingenuously, not out of integrity, but within integrity, upholding the most amount and just being honest and letting them know like what you see is happening, what you believe, what you like about them.
Most hosts never achieve the results they hoped for. They're falling short on listenership and monetization, meaning their message isn't being heard and their show ends up costing them money. This podcast was created to help you grow your listenership and make money while you're at it. Get ready to take notes. Here's your host, Adam Adams.
Hey, podcaster. If you just listened to the Nate Bailey episode, then this is the episode that's supposed to come out after the Nate Bailey episode. Now, Nate Bailey, great guy. He's driven. He's got humility. He just seemed really cool. I loved that conversation with him. It lasted about the full hour that he and I had, and he had another appointment. So I decided for the additional value that I wanted to give him one-on-one, I'm going to make this recording for him and for you, where you can know the difference between the CPM model and the model that I suggest. Now, there's 8 ways to monetize your podcast, as you've probably heard before, 8 different ways to monetize a podcast. Great. Awesome. Here's 2 of them. One of them is the CPM, or cost per mille. That means basically cost per 1,000 downloads, and which is to say that your sponsor, your advertiser, is going to give you like $20 per 1,000 downloads that you have. So if you've got 300 downloads and they're going to give you $30 cost per mille, then they'll probably give you $10 for that episode. And that kind of sucks. I mean, that's terrible money. And I know a lot of people that deal with it, that go with it. They're like, oh yeah, I've got sponsors on my podcast. I'm a badass. I'm so cool. This is awesome. But I mean, for you to collect $10 per episode, you're losing money. You don't really have a sponsor if they're not covering the cost of your podcast. So these advertisers, CPM is the way not to do it. So what's the way to do it? And I started to mention to Nate Bailey on the last episode, I started to mention to him, and go check that one out, that there's a better way. So what is the better way, Adam? Okay, let's jump in. Let's give it to you. The better way for you to make money is for you to reach out to the person. I started to tell this to Nate as we were wrapping up the conversation. I want him to reach out to his person. I want you, the listener, to reach out to your person. And we've had a pretty good track record. We've only had one client not be able to secure an advertiser or sponsor, and everybody else secures them on one phone call. And there's this one guy who reached out to like these huge companies only, and their gatekeepers wouldn't let him in. So he never ended up getting past the gatekeeper. So he never got a sponsor. But I want you to reach out to smaller companies, like middle-sized companies, people where you know somebody in the company, the sales and marketing team, you work with them, you've got the CEO's number on speed dial or whatever. This is going to be the way that you get the success of the rest of our clients, is by having your site set, but not trying to go after the biggest companies. I don't remember the name of the companies that he was going after. They were just huge companies, kind of like Coca-Cola in a way. Everybody knows what Coca-Cola is. Half the people out there like Coca-Cola, and it's just a big company. And it's like he couldn't get past the gatekeeper. So, and I still have a cold as we're recording. I got a cold. So you're going to hear me sniffle. You're going to hear a little bit of that, but let me just give you this way of reaching out. So you first line up and write out all of the sponsors that you kind of know that would be competing with you, but they would add value to your audience. And you've got them on speed dial, you know their budget, you can talk to them pretty easily. And once you've done that, once you've figured out who that is and who those people are, those companies are, then you start reaching out to them. And I'll give you a script in this episode as well. I'll tell you exactly how to say different things. And it's always got to be your personality. So you're going to have to tweak a couple of parts. And it's also going to have to be for your podcast. Is that going to have to be for your avatar and the sponsor that you're looking to land, right? But the concepts are going to be valuable to you. You just have to tweak a couple little things. So for example, when I launched my very first podcast, it was called Creative Real Estate. Creative Real Estate is a podcast about real estate investing and being able to think outside the box. And so this first sponsor that I ever reached out to was a company that is a hard money lending. company. Hard money just basically means they lend on hard assets and they'll take the collateral. So they're a lender for fix and flip, basically. And a lot of the listeners that I assumed that I would have, and I didn't have any listeners yet. So if I would have gone CPM, I wouldn't have made any money at all. So I didn't have a single listener, but I reached out to a company and I just said, hey, for $300, will you be a sponsor of my first few episodes? And so basically it was $100 an episode for 3 episodes. And I had 0 listeners. I had no credibility at the time, but I reached out to them. They knew who my avatar was. And I gave them a pitch like, hey, my listener is a real estate person. Real estate people need hard money. Hard money helps them. You have the best hard money, the best rates. You charge 2 points and 10%, which is way low. And you guys have always funded my deals super fast. And because of that, I want to shout you out. Do you want to do $300 for 3 episodes? And so I got $300 and was able to put them on a couple of episodes in the beginning. If I would have used CPM model, like I said, I would have made no money because I didn't have any listener base, right? This company took a chance. So this is a good thing to highlight, that a lot of people that are new at getting a sponsor, like you want to start your sponsor, like Nate Bailey's probably listening to this. He probably wants to get a sponsor. When that happens, it's like you are thinking to yourself, but who am I? Who am I to have somebody pay me that much? If the CPM model would have only given me $2, in Nate Bailey's case, the CPM model might have only given him $2 to $6. And if that's where he is, and by the way, CPM is after 30 days. So it's the amount of downloads that you get after 30 days, not the amount of downloads that you get after like 90 days or anything. So it's whatever you get after 30 days. If Nate goes that route, he's going to make $2, $3, $4, $5, or $6 max. So now he goes and reaches out to somebody. So he's got a company that he's a coach. He's a mentor for executive coaching. So basically he helps companies, he helps businesses to be able to help their leadership grow. And he charges like $2,000, $5,000 a month, usually for a year. And that's wonderful. And if he just sponsored himself, then he would be able to do pretty well. But he said that he wants it to be more consistent. If you go back to the last episode, he's like, yeah, but I want it to be like consistent. Even if it's a small amount of money, but it's always coming in, it's better than making like 50 grand one day and then going a couple of weeks or months or years with making nothing, right? Now, just like some real estate agents, they might get 2 properties under contract 1 month and they might make like $40,000, we'll say. And then they have a couple of months off and they spend all the 40,000 and now they're kind of hurting again. And we all want consistent, predictable cash flow. And that's what Nate was looking for. And he's going to get it by having a sponsor or an advertiser. And the way that I think advertisers work, and write this down, please. The way I think advertisers work is that they are doing the CPM model to advertise random things in random places. Okay. The way that I think sponsors or partners of the show is somebody who has your exact same avatar. They want to get in front of your audience. You both can help that person equally and without hurting each other's business. And you ask them to do like $2,500, $3,500 a month to be part of your podcast and its growth. That's a good way to work. So for example, we've had a few people come to our company. It's called Grow Your Show. Is my company is Grow Your Show at growyourshow.com. And people have come because we do a little bit of paid ads. There's a couple of packages. One is like $4,000 a month. One of is like $2,000 a month. So they're not cheap. They're not inexpensive. So I just want to say that wrapping it up a little bit is that there's, again, 2 ways to have these people. One is as advertisers that are doing CPM and it's shitty for you. And the other way is as partners or sponsors of the show, which is a great way for you. And I promised you that I would talk a little bit about like that pitch. How does that pitch work? So I'm going to think with Nate Bailey. I'm going to use him as an example here. He's got his coaching. He helps with that. So basically, what else? I mean, there could be leadership retreats. If Nate doesn't do retreats, maybe he could have his coach or mentor sponsor his podcast. Because I know Nate believes in coaches and mentors, just like I do. I've always spent a good amount of money each year and have for many, many years in a row. And what has gotten me the success that I've gotten. And I think Nate feels the same way. And Nate knows the power of coaching and consulting, and he does it for other people. And so he takes one, and maybe let's just say that he's a one-on-one person or a one-on-many. Like he goes into this company, but maybe there's a place where the CFO or CEO, COO, whatever, where that individual leaves the office and goes to Costa Rica for a week or two for a retreat. Maybe they're doing ayahuasca. Maybe they're doing yoga. Maybe they're doing a fasting breatharian retreat. Maybe they're just doing a leadership retreat. Maybe they're doing a retreat. Who knows, that they turn off their cell phones. It could be anything. But perhaps Nate's got somebody in his pocket that he's worked with that has these retreats that come up maybe once a year or twice a year or something. And he could reach out to them. Let's just pretend that there's a company. I'm going to come up with a random name. 123 Ayahuasca. I hope that's not a real company. 123 Ayahuasca. They do retreats where they help you better yourself. And as you better yourself, you become a better leader. I'm just pretending. Ayahuasca is a drug. It's kind of like mushrooms. It's like a psychedelic. So anyway, let's just pretend that Nate believed in this. I don't know. I'm not trying to speak for him. Let's just pretend like he believed in it and he did it once and it helped him. It grew him immensely. He's not a journey person. He doesn't bring people through the process himself, but he believes in the process. And so he's got his where he flies out to you and then he has his person and he just lets them know, hey, here's the pitch. Here's the pitch. Nate, write this down to the ayahuasca company. You reach out to them and you say, hey, I just wanted to thank you again for just the profound centering that I learned and grew from, and just getting in touch with me and the universe and kind of like what I feel like I'm called to be. That made the biggest difference for me. So what we're really saying is flattery. We're basically giving the compliments. Thanks again. It was really impactful. I believe in what you're doing. That's where you start. Then the second thing is, and I was actually never in 320 episodes, Nate might say, in 320 episodes, I've never really considered, not deeply, having a podcast sponsor, having somebody who shared the same avatar as me. So now you're letting them know you share the same avatar. And you're basically saying, I've never thought of this, but with you, I think of it. This can be like when you really care about a girl or a guy or whatever, when you really care about a guy or a girl, sometimes you might say like, man, you make me feel really good. Like you make me feel really special and like I can be honest and open. And it's just a wonderful feeling. I would like to keep seeing you. I would like to keep having that experience. And I'd like to keep getting to know you. What are you doing on Friday? Or what are you doing the rest of my life? You know what I mean? So you start with the flattery. You start by complimenting, not disingenuously, not out of integrity, but within integrity, upholding the most amount and just being honest and letting them know like what you see is happening, what you believe, what you like about them. Share it. And then just say, going back to this ayahuasca, that had such a profound impact on me. And I became a better leader as a result. I'm a better coach. I'm actually a better father and a husband than I was before I went on that retreat with you. And I just believe in it so much. And I'll tell you what, I've never even considered, or I've never thought of, and I've never had a sponsor before. I didn't even know if I wanted a sponsor, but I want you to be a partner of the show. Like I would love to have you partner because we share the exact same avatar. We share its leadership. It's CEOs and presidents of companies that I serve and that CEOs and presidents of companies that you serve. And I want to help you grow. And I want to be able to have a marketing budget for our podcast as well, so we can get in front of even more people. So I want to give you a deal. Eventually, it's just going to be 10 grand a month for a year contract. Okay. So what you're basically doing here, it's called anchoring. It's called anchoring. Write it down if you don't know what it is. I'm anchoring them on the price and the contract right now. I'm saying, I just want to give you a deal. I want to partner with you. And so eventually I'm going to charge 10 grand a month for a 12-month minimum commitment. But I really like to start off with you where it was just $3,500 for 6 months. And if you love it, you keep doing it. Yeah, I might raise the price up to 10 grand after 6 months, but you would be able to make that determination. Like when you see, listen how I say this, when you see that it's worth it. when you see that it's worth it. This is a sales copy, guys. When you see that it's worth it. So it's going to be eventually 10 grand a month for a 12-month contract. And I just want to start with you like right now and just do it at 3,500, do it 6 months, because you're not going to get value if you do it less than 6 months. You got to be on for a while. You got to really stay in front of the audience. So I think 6 month minimum, we'll just drop it down to 3,500. And maybe after the 6 months, if you love it and you're seeing that you're getting the results, you can stay with it. I don't know what I'll pull the price to after, but are you good just like joining me for the next 6 months and seeing what it's like? Honestly, everybody who's all but two, honestly, one client, she had to call two people. And so big deal. She made 2 phone calls instead of 1 phone call. The rest of the clients made it on the first phone call, except for that one person that I briefly mentioned that never got a sponsor because he was going after just these giant companies with gatekeepers that he couldn't figure out how to get in. And I didn't know how to tell him how to get in. So he didn't end up getting a sponsor, but everybody else has gotten plenty of money. They're making $2,500, $3,500, $4,500. 5,000, 6,000, and even 10 and 20,000. One's making 22,000 a month since they started working with us. So it happens. I mean, you pay a certain amount of marketing with my company. Let's say it's paid advertising. You give us $2,500 a month. You should easily be able to make 2,500 to 6,000 a month easily. And the benefit, even if you are at the lowest end where you're just breaking even, then at least you're touching more lives and having a higher probability, let's say for Nate Bailey, a higher probability for him to make those more consistent $50,000 sales, where a company hires him for, let's just say $5,000 a month for 12 months. It's $60,000. If he just brought in one client a month like that in a whole month, right? If he just brought in a new person every 30 days, then that's like I believe that's $700,000 this year that Nate could make, not let alone everything getting paid for by his sponsor. So that's what I want you to be thinking. I want you to be thinking of what kind of person do I want to be part of my show? Do I want an advertiser or do I want a partner? Do I want an advertiser that does CPM and I make $2 to $6 per episode? Or do I reach out to the right person with ayahuasca or whatever it is, and I'd be making $5,000, $6,000 a month consistently through my podcast, but only paying $2,500 and get the opportunity to make more $50,000, $60,000 sales through my business. So that's what you want to be thinking about. I hope that helps. I gave you a script. I gave you the ways to think about the script. I gave you sales copy. I gave you ways to think about how to reach out to that person. And so I'm hoping you got all the value that you need. But if you need more help and you want to schedule a call with me, just reach out to me, team@growyourshow.com. Just use the email team@growyourshow.com, and me and my team will get back to you just by letting me know that you want to maybe come on an episode and ask a question. And I will pour into you just like I did with Nate on the last episode, and how I'll probably be doing with whomever I'm interviewing on the episode that comes out after this. I appreciate you listening. I love having you as a listener. Today, I'm going to ask you a thing that I don't normally ask you. I want you to do me a favor if you love the podcast, if you genuinely love it. And I think there's more than one of you that does love this podcast sincerely. Could you tell like 2 or 3 people about it? Like 2 or 3 other podcasters this week. Just think in your mind for a sec, like, who do I know that needs to learn this? Who do I know that has a podcast? Who do I know that's launching a podcast? Who do I know that is struggling with a podcast? Who do I know that needs some help? And just share one of the episodes with them, like this one, if they need help monetizing, for example, and they need to be able to like not make $2, but instead make thousands of bucks. And share the episode, share the podcast with 2 or 3 people that you think it could help. And that'll help the podcast grow. That'll help us get better content. But really, ultimately, it's just a favor that I'm asking you to do for me if I'm adding enough value to you that you would think about 2 or 3 people to share it with. All right, I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now. You're not alone if you're ready to either get your very first affordable microphone or if you're ready to upgrade your equipment to some legit podcasting studio equipment. Because on all of the forums over the last few months, I'm seeing this all the time. Even my own personal clients that work with my team, they're ready to get that next microphone. they're asking us for it. Additionally, when I'm on discovery calls with potential clients, they're always asking for this stuff. Hey, what mic do you recommend? Hey, what lighting do you recommend? What webcam should I be using? So many questions. And so what we did, my whole team has put together a PDF so that if you're one of those people who is looking to either get your very first affordable microphone, or if you're ready to upgrade your equipment to more professional podcast studio equipment, whether it's soundproofing or whatever, we've got you covered by going to growyourshow.com/PDF. And you can download the PDF for free, or right there on the webpage is everything that you would have, and you don't need to download the PDF. Either way, just go to growyourshow.com/PDF, which will put you to the podcasting equipment that me and my team have personally vetted. I'll see you on the next episode.